I'm just concerned. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but allowing you to do the second buck in the same season, I'm afraid
a problem. We're with
at the expense, right? I mean, we're trying to solve the doe issue, and I think the buck population is going to suffer.
Absolutely, exactly.
It is. I just think it's important. However, these things are proposed and they come up with, like, we have to give the feedback, and that's just where we're at right now.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Deer Grow.
Man, hard to believe, but Deer Grow has been the sponsor that's been there since the beginning of the HUNTR Podcast. Back in 2021, I think that they were the only partner that we had, but it's such a cornerstone brand and set of products for our food plot strategy throughout the year.
No doubt. And it seems like we used to have an off season, but not so much anymore. It's like when the hunting season ends, it really rolls right into food plot season, habitat projects, all of the above. And the Plot Start and Plot Boost have been there since the very beginning. That's a cornerstone for all of our plots. The Plot Start goes on at the beginning, Plot Boost goes on midway through. And since they came out with all of the fertilizers, that gets mixed in with the Plot Boost application as well. And I can't believe the results that we've been getting out of that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, it's all the work now that really produces the results in the fall. So right now, anyone listening to the HUNTR Podcast can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for 15% off any of the products at deergrow.com.
Better food plots, bigger deer.
Hey, we're back.
Hey,
HUNTR Podcast, episode 316. Now we're on point.
There we go. Didn't need a deep breath on that one either.
Didn't need the deep breath. So anyways, episode 316. Here we go. Mid-April.
We can take a deep breath and slow it down here, though. A little bit. We've been cranking.
Yeah, mid-April. It's
crazy. April's slipping.
We're in like a heat wave of April, but it's supposed to get cold next week again.
I know. I saw that.
So
mid turkey hunt. I think Saturdays looks.
Yeah, Saturday morning looks good.
Thunderstorm.
And
the front's
coming through.
Saturday afternoon. Then Sunday's just colder, but sunny again still.
Yeah, just quick front, but big temperature drop from like 80s to 50s or something.
Yeah, should be okay.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to just think. I did sprayed clover Sunday, and I did some reseeding just here in Pennsylvania back home.
Mm-hmm.
So hit it with some IMOX and also some cleth, clean up some of the grasses, actually clean up a lot of the winter rye that was in the plots, and then overseeded some clover. So
I want to say that I sprayed my rye with clethodim last year. Do you remember that? And didn't have the success?
Yes.
Why was that? Remember, did I spray too early or something?
I think we were saying you sprayed too late. Like it was just hard to kill.
Maybe that was it. I have to look back at the date there. But yeah, I guess I need to get on that sooner or later. Or find the alternative, which I think is just to mow it.
Yep. Terminate it before it seeds out.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. I think most of my rye stuff is going to end up going back into Nebraska. So
yeah, because you have to
work around clover that I left in there. So
I don't think you can like obviously if you mowed it right now, like it's still actively growing. Like that's not going to terminate it. I think you have to wait till it gets ready to seed out, and then you mow it to terminate it.
I'll probably hit it with chemical sooner than later, and then if we have to end up mowing it or down the road, we'll do that. But anyways, before we get going, I appreciate you guys being here and. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, those are the three main platforms that we drop these episodes on, and we do that every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can give us a follow, subscribe on one of those channels there, and it'll notify you when these drop. But if you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the two that we check the most frequently. I know, and I've been apologizing now for a few weeks on email for sure. I'm behind, so a lot of you guys have reached out. I'm not ignoring you, but it's. I got you on the backlog there till we can get through those. So we have some HUNTR merch on our website and some new stuff coming here later this year. You guys can continue to check back for that.
You going to show them new sweatshirt, see if anybody is interested? It's not for sale yet, but...
This is a Jared special.
A Jared special mock-up. Pretty cool.
Oh.
Original.
Yeah, just the
OG camo.
Duck camo with the...
White
the
logo.
HUNTR logo there. I've got a fairly limited color palette. I rock with blacks, greens, and duck camos as far as street clothes.
Street clothes.
Street
cred.
Till we shipped into deer season, then it's just straight base layers and predator.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much it.
So, and lastly, speaking of predator, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, on any of our partners' websites for a discount in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
And other than that, here we go.
Brought a guest on today. So we've been getting a lot of requests. First of all, let me back up. We had, I would say, a lot of feedback on Josh from Michigan. And, I know they had their meeting. They've got one more coming up, which I think is like the decision-making meeting. And so that seems like it's going well. I'm glad people listened to the episode and got to hear what Josh's point of view is and hopefully went to the meeting, or I don't know if you can go to the next meeting or not. But that was a big one. Since then, it's been like a waterfall of changes, which I think is refreshing to see from states. So not that the changes have been made, but Missouri put out a big thing on primarily limiting non-residents via either taking it from $2 to $1 for non-residents, although I think non-resident landowners would still have $2, and then looking into, I think, 2027 at a possible draw for non-residents. So they're trying to change something up there.
Yeah. Again, to fall back to what I said while Eric was here last week, is everybody wants to think that the non-residents are the problem, and they may be in some cases. I'm not saying that that's absolutely not, but like every state that seems to be proposing issue that's the fix is like ignoring the bigger issue that most of them seem to have.
And in Missouri, I think we had the discussion.
Maybe the early gun season.
The gun season.
Yeah. Fix your gun season first, and then talk about limiting access for anybody. And start with non-residents for sure.
Yeah, and the one thing,
and I don't hunt in Missouri, so I don't have a.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't agree with is they were talking about changing first one was if they took the buck limit from 2 to 1, and they did it for basically everybody that was not a landowner. Well, that's just going to raise prices of land, because then non-residents are just going to want to buy land to be able to have 2 buck tags.
Well, it may, and it also, what are they trying? They're trying to deter non-residents. I mean, how many non-residents are shooting $2? Can't be very many.
I can't believe it's very many.
Yeah, couple thousand maybe.
No, and then the other one was looking at it as like, I think it was between public and private land, which is even worse, because then your lease prices and everything are going to blow up.
Dumb.
Yeah, so you can't do that. You gotta, it's got to be a full swath on that. So anyways, Missouri's got some things going on, and then the other big one that we've been doing, and I'm working through some of the Department of. It's the DEC in New York. I don't know what that actually stands for. Environmental Conservation, something like that.
There you go.
But I have to go through their communications department to get their biologist on, whose name's Jeremy Hurst. Okay. So I'm working through that. But in the interim, we have our resident New Yorker on, Eric Hansen.
Yeah.
So
for his professional opinion on these issues
and cabbage farming skills.
Yeah, no, just an excuse to catch up with Eric, and if we want to BS on some of those proposed changes, we could do that too. So,
but we've had a ton of people from New York basically saying, "Hey, we've also got big changes that are being proposed. You guys should talk about it." Sure, why not?
Do that.
So we've got Eric on here to kind of intro and bring this into light, and then hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get the deer biologist in from New York to have a follow up on it.
Cool.
So, Eric Hansen, everyone.
What's up, dude?
The resident New Yorker.
Yeah.
Did you get a haircut?
That's good or bad. Good or bad. I am a resident New Yorker. I'm kind of locked in here.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said? I said, did you get a haircut?
Every other day.
Every other day, clean shave.
Dude, did you lose? I didn't mean to start on this here. But were you losing hairs while you started shaving, or did you?
Yeah, a little bit. But like I tell people, even if I could grow it, I'd probably still do this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks good on you. I wonder if I'll get there someday. Yeah, I'm losing.
Some people can pull it off. Eric Hansen can pull it off. Yeah. Others, I think my head's misshapen, so I'd have a tough time.
Mine is too. I'm missing a piece of bone they pulled out and put on my nose.
Yeah, that might leave it dead.
I'm a goofy old dude.
Yeah,
that's what they make cats for.
I see that hairline going back though, Jared. I see it
on mine.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I had the long stuff in the back for a long time, and I honestly, at a certain point, I got started getting self-conscious because it was like I had too much party in the back, not enough business in the front. Look great with a hat, but then when you take the hat off, it's like, ooh,
where'd it go?
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, the gravity was pulling on it, I think.
Yeah. It's better with short hair though. It's like an illusion, you know.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I guess it works for me. Glad you guys approve.
Yeah, for sure.
Cooler in the summertime as well.
Makes it more aerodynamic while you're fighting.
You got to keep it covered up. But
no sunburn on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, we were catching up earlier. You guys are well into planting season, I guess is kind of what you're working on.
Yeah, at the farm, we're just getting going. I mean, April is a pretty big wild card in New York for what you can or can't get done. But we got like a half inch of rain last night. But yeah, anything we can get done in April is, I guess they call it a bonus kind of. So yeah, longer obviously the more days, the bigger window you got, it just makes everybody's life a little easier, but doesn't always happen. But so far so good. We got some sweet corn in and probably switch to cabbage next week, but no corn or beans or anything yet, but it's coming.
So with like your sweet corn or your cabbage, are you worried about like frost and freeze type stuff still?
Yes, at a certain point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like this, if you want the details, but we put this corn down underneath plastic.
Got it.
And it's also on some black dirt, like muck.
Yep.
And that particular area is also, just because it's low, is susceptible to frost, even all the way into like June, if you can believe that.
Oh.
So it's probably a 50-50 if we're even going to get a crop. I mean, it'll grow underneath the plastic, right? And it's safe. And then it'll come to a point where it gets bent over by the plastic. So you take the plastic off.
Yep.
And then that's going to be in May. So that's when it's susceptible.
Got it.
A frost. So it's farming. It's a gamble. That particular one's probably a bigger gamble, but it's not a lot of acres.
Sure.
That's sweet corn. Are you're tarping it or whatever you say, growing it under the plastic? Is that because it's not like Roundup ready?
No, in this case, it's just to get it so the soil's cold, right? Mm-hmm. So you put the plastic and it's going to warm that up and get it growing faster. So it's just the end of the game is to try to get it as early as you can for harvest, right? So plastic is
it's almost like a micro greenhouse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a tube on a tree. I was curious about like from a weed prevention side. I think Dad's had a couple failed crops of sweet corn just because I don't think it is like you can't spray it with anything. You have to go in and work like manually pull weeds and grass and stuff out from it. And he's planting like a half acre or an acre. It's like a lot of work. So
it is, yeah. We're putting a pre-emerge,
like an atrazine or something.
Yeah, a little of that. It's got some dual in it.
Yep, dual. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that keeps it pretty good. But same way when we're planting it without plastic, I mean, we're going in with dual right after planting.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Dad's got to use the chemicals
side here. Yeah. Well, Dad's never had like the green thumb. Yeah, it's like every year it's like the you may or may not have corn. I think actually he's given up. I think he's like
really
put enough effort into it over the years. We've had some good stuff, but there's I think more failures than successes. But
that'll happen.
You'll have that.
So. Well, cool, man. Well, we kind of led into it pre-opening there, basically that a lot of states seem like they're wanting to make some changes or at least have discussions about them, and one that continues to kind of pop up in our feeds seems to be New York is trying to make some significant changes. I would assume that you're pretty up to date on what they're covering there.
Yeah, I think so. We've been doing some work on it. Had multiple calls with just amongst our group, the Just Hunt guys. But yeah, we've got if you go to our website, you can see there's a survey on there and then just our general statement about our thoughts on these proposed changes. But obviously we need everybody else to chime in as well, because just, our group is fine, but like we need people to, voice their opinion, whether it's good or bad. I mean, we have ours, obviously.
Yeah. And what are they, Eric? What's the proposal?
What's the proposal or our opinion? I guess
proposal. What's being proposed?
Yeah. So the proposals are there's multiple things, but the end game is try to harvest more does.
Okay.
Which we're fully in support of.
Okay.
And that's through like extra doe tags, not restricting the transfer of them.
Okay.
Currently, you can only transfer 2 from other people.
Yep.
There's they want to expand the September antlerless season.
Mm-hmm.
But the big one is they're trying to make your second buck in New York earn a buck.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's currently 2 bucks. Okay.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay.
But currently, you can only kill 1 per weapon season.
Okay.
So like you got your archery and then your gun, right?
Yep.
So you kill one in each season, and
they're talking about making them both same weapon.
Yeah. So that's the catch. Like we're in favor of all these harvest more does. It's great. But the fact that you can kill
2 bucks
a second buck with the same season,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
So in theory, like a big part of that change would be, let's say, gun season, and go out, kill my first buck, shoot a doe, then go kill my second buck with a gun.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a monster change for the state for sure.
Yeah. And I would argue, since we can use crossbows all archery season now, I mean, during the rut, you could make it happen there too,
Mm-hmm. Which affects your gun hunters in the state.
Yeah.
Is that we talked about this last time, I think. Is that a fairly new change for New York? They were kind of a late adopter to crossbows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they put it in where you could use it starting November 1st. That's what it used to be. Okay. When they first left. So starting November 1st, you could use crossbow pretty much the rest of the archery and beyond. Then I think it was last year or the year before, I think maybe 2 years ago, they made it the entire season.
Put the foot in the door and then kick it in.
Have you noticed, when did they do the November 1st thing? How long has it been a part of the archery season?
I'd be guessing, but I want to say that's going back 7-8 years maybe.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. Have you guys seen any, I mean, do you see any change happening like in the past 2 years since they made it the whole season, or does it seem like that's impacted anything?
I think it's definitely the normal things you hear in other states. I think it's more pressure during that season because people are, the deal. They can shoot a crossbow a lot easier than they can shoot a traditional bow. So I see that, and obviously I don't know I'd have to look at the numbers, but I don't know if our archery harvest has gone up as well. I would assume that it would with the crossbows, but I don't know those numbers. I'd have to look those up.
I'd assume it hasn't. In most states where they have crossbows, they don't kill any more deer. They just have less access.
Well, they kill more deer in archery season.
Yeah, but not overall. So the gun hunters will kill their deer,
Right. Yeah, I would anticipate that the archery season take has been higher in New York.
Do you know what it is? The archery? I'm curious. In New York,
I'd have to. I'm sure we could find it on there. We were New York's. I do know that our deer take has been fairly
consistent.
Over the years. Yeah, it doesn't vary a lot.
If it's correct.
What I mean, Eric, it seems like a dumb question, but I would assume that gun season in New York is a pretty strong tradition and like, and holiday type atmosphere.
Yeah, I think probably less than it used to be, just because of the world we live in and whatnot. But yes, it's it definitely still a pretty big tradition. Yeah, it starts on a Saturday now. That's a change that happened, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago probably. Used to be a Monday. So yeah, it's a big thing, and it's just it's a necessary evil. We could go down this talk about when they should do gun season, that whole thing. I think this DEC stuff, I mean, I'm okay talking about all that stuff, but I think like as a strategy at this point, let's focus on what they're proposing and just that, you know what I mean? Because it's, we start going down the road of season changes and all that. I don't think they want to hear about it right now.
Yeah, fair enough. I just out of curiosity, I was looking it up. 30 to 35% of your deer harvest is archery.
And if we start to really dive into this, I think that the reason that it's that low is because of only one buck tag being valid per weapon season. Meaning, even though, Eric, you may consider yourself a bow hunter, you're going to gun hunt because you got a tag that's only good for gun, basically.
Gun season. So you can in New York use a bow during.
But you're going to hunt gun season.
Yeah, I'm going to hunt it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that your participation, because here's what's happening in Pennsylvania, is that our gun season participation has dropped significantly because of crossbows being legalized. Most people are killing their buck in archery season now. Mm-hmm. And therefore, they don't go out during gun season to kill a doe, right? They just stop participating.
Here's an analogy for you. I think crossbows are a lot like credit cards. It's like everybody wants to use them because they're easy and they're convenient. But once you start allowing it, we've seen this with our business that used to be cash only. We're now up to 80-85% of your purchases are credit cards because it's easy. It kind of overtakes it. So I think over time, especially 2 years ago, you guys made that change. Over time, you'll catch up to at least 50-50, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And that's kind of I think that's where we start to look at the problems that kind of are happening in a lot of states. Whether it's Ohio or what could potentially happen in New York is, I think a lot of people would take opportunistic, time in the gun season to maybe even harvest a doe, and fulfilling those tags in an archery season, they stop hunting, right? They're like, I got my deer for the year. I got my 2 deer for the year. And like, I'm done. I don't do it. And so the more we front load that season, in theory, I think a lot of the agencies are like, well, it's more participation in the archery. Like, we're going to get more harvest out of it. We don't. Like, traditionally, I think a large portion of the harvest is coming from gun seasons. That's what you're seeing in New York, mm-hmm. right? If it's 30% in archery season, then 70% in gun season. That's huge. Pennsylvania was probably very much the same, if not even greater than that. Now I think it's 50-50 and probably leaning heavily towards archery every year we have it more.
Yeah. That's kind of the root of the proposal here, Eric, and that you're wanting to kind of address is that they're talking about giving you 2 same weapon buck tags. That's, in conjunction with the earn a buck thing. That's what's happening.
You got it. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's really our only problem with these proposals. I mean, the rest of it is fine. I think it's great. We do need to shoot more does.
Okay. Can you give us some context on that, Eric? I mean, set the stage for why do we feel like there's a high number of does? There's other states that have those issues, but maybe relating to different regulation. Like why do you think that the doe numbers are getting out of control?
Well, if you're in suburban area, that's obviously a problem naturally, just to access and whatnot.
Sure.
Part of this conversation, I think it's just as hunters and as managers and as conservationists, like, we have to quit making excuses about why we're not shooting does. Mm-hmm. It's like, I mean, that's the problem, because what happens, as you guys know, is if you don't handle it on your own, something's going to get legislated or passed, and they're going to try to do it, and that usually doesn't ever go well. Mm-hmm. I just there's so many times when you can come up with an excuse not to shoot the does. It's whether somebody's not physically able, whether they just are lazy, it's a lot of, there's work involved with it. And I just think that we need to, as a community, promote that, because it's going to be a problem in some fashion if we don't. So just do it, really. Just do it.
Are you fundamentally, are you in support of the earn a buck for a second tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be fine with it as long as it wasn't the same.
Right.
Yeah. It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? No, but I mean, I would rather have you almost earn your first buck, but that's, there's certain parts of New York State where there's not a lot of those too. I mean, we got the Adirondack Mountains.
Yeah.
So it's pretty diverse down through there. Your question about why the populations, I think, you're seeing ground leased up more, certainly, and depending on who's leasing it and their goals, that's usually means fewer hunters, and that also may mean strictly trophy hunting or buck hunting. and I just think that those populations get out of whack. And I mean, I'm a farmer, and obviously I know a lot of farmers. So like, but I'm also a hunter, and there's not a lot of farmers, especially around here, that are also hunters. So like, I see both sides of, wanting to see deer, but also the damage they can do. And then just the, certain diseases that can come up too with too many deer. But, there's agricultural areas that I live in where, you've got segments that aren't shooting does. And, I mean, quite frankly, as a landowner that plants food for deer, we end up doing a lot of the harvest for everybody else, if that makes sense. Our doe fest every year on the channel is like one of our favorite times to do it. And like, I feel like that's maybe even the most important video we do, because it shows, here's what we do. I bring people in a short window. We're using rifles usually, and you're killing anywhere from 15 to 25 deer, does. That's it. You know what I mean? And like, it's a little gory. It's like, it's messy. It's a lot of work, but like, we're doing it. And I just want to try to promote everybody else that we really got to just shoot them. Yeah.
Well, Eric, what are the excuses, or why do you think people are intentionally or unintentionally not shooting does?
I think a lot of it's just life for people. Well, I can't shoot one tonight. I gotta go to dinner, or whatever. I'm way back in here. I don't want to shoot one back here and have to get it out. I can't drive to it. You know what I mean? So I think those are the main reasons. And there's still some old school guys around that probably have never shot one, probably never will.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, if like we're honest with ourselves, like it is work, and like all of those thoughts have gone through my mind, and maybe caused me not to shoot does, that because I'm either too far back there, or I'm like, I got to rip home after this kind of a thing. But I also know that we have a responsibility. We're incentivized personally because I know that from a management perspective, like there's value to shooting does and not having too many. So that's really what motivates us. But like, if that's not your situation, like if you're like on a lease or a permission, something you don't feel like you have so much ownership on, and you don't eat the meat or need the meat or whatever, it's kind of like, why would you? It's like, it's kind of a lot of work it's fun to do it, but the work kind of outweighs the short rush of shooting one. You're like, I'll just I'll wait for my buck.
Well, I think to your point too, Eric, is like I'm typically in favor of an earn a buck, with the exception of if it's a blanket statement and there are areas like in the Adirondacks that don't need it,
or county specific.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is you're encouraging people in those lower deer density areas to shoot a doe when they probably don't need to, because they want a second buck tag, right? Like that becomes the issue in those spots, is that they're going to shoot a buck, and then if they're like, well, I've got to shoot a doe in order to get that second tag, they're going to do that too. And those areas may not support the need for that. Whereas like maybe if they're taking a buck and or 2 bucks out, frankly, that's less impact than a buck and a doe from a population standpoint.
Right. I'm just concerned. I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but allowing you to do the second buck in the same season, that's
a problem. We're with you.
At the expense, right? I mean, we're trying to solve the doe issue, and I think the buck population is going to suffer.
Absolutely,
exactly.
The way it is, and that's, I mean, I don't know the process the state goes through to come up with this stuff. There's a little description on their website about things they have thought of but decided against. Such as 1 buck or earn the first buck. But, I just think it's important, however these things are proposed and they come up with, like, we have to give the feedback. And that's just that's where we're at right now. So,
yeah, it does seem like a, 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. Cause like it may or may not help your doe numbers,
right?
But I agree with you. It'll almost certainly hurt your buck quality. Because that's what guys want at the end of the day. They may shoot a doe, to be able to gain that second tag, but I don't know. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked out as always.
Blacked out.
Yeah.
Big surprise for
80
everyone.
pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year, it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. And we just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt, like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
The funny thing is like it seems like most states make no movement for years, and then all of a sudden you get a wave like this, and it's like, okay, the initial step should be, let's do earn a buck, but let's keep the buck tag allocation the same in terms of the seasons, right? That's the next step, is like, basically, if you want that second buck tag, whether it's for archery and for gun, you've got to kill a doe to get it. They're doing it, I think, ambiguous, basically saying, like, hey, you can use it at any season because it's easier for them, right? Like, if there's an earn a buck, but it's specific to a weapon season, it becomes a much more difficult thing to manage, because it's like, well, do you get your archery tag and then you can kill that, and now that unlocks your gun tag? Or, you're basically not going to kill the doe during gun season to then unlock the archery tag, because it's only good for the late season at that point. Like, it's a weird thing. Like, they're going to have to redo their entire structure if they did that to one buck tag, and then the second tag is basically whatever season you didn't choose to use the other one, right? It makes it more complicated. So all they're doing is saying, well, if we're going to do earn a buck, that's too complicated for us to manage. They could do it if they wanted to, but in their mind, it's too complicated. So they're just going to then say it's a free-for-all, and you can just use it whenever in any season.
Yeah. But again, it's at the convenience.
Absolutely, man.
Focusing on, the resource.
Agree.
That's the problem. Yeah.
That is the issue, is that by saying, like, hey, we've got to figure out a simpler way for us to manage this, it now has a dramatic effect on the resource.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that's obviously discouraging for people like us that take it pretty serious.
Yeah.
I wish sometimes, this would probably never happen either, but do some sort of an outreach, like a ad campaign or something, just trying to promote the doe harvest, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Get people like really like taking pride in it.
I have never seen anything like that, Eric. I've never seen an actual promotion that says shooting does is great. Here's what a doe fest could look like, that was put out by the state.
I think most people would agree that the loss of and then the increasing price of deer processors is probably the number one reason they're not killing does anymore.
And disease on top of that in certain areas.
For sure. And so, like, with those things, like, the number one thing would be like, hey,
what were the two that you said?
Loss of processors and the cost to get one processed, which are tied together, basically.
And not a place, or a place,
I think loss of access.
Donate it.
100.
Donation.
Thing.
The donation.
Yeah,
I'm saying about actual access. I think what you said earlier is just as true, or as big of a thing, is that they can't get on the properties to shoot them.
I think there's plenty of people with access that just don't kill does.
That's also true, but there's also plenty of people who would happily shoot does that can't get on the property to do it.
Yeah.
I want to believe when people say that is a reason. Like, we hear that with every state, is they're like, man, I would come kill does if you let me on your property. But if you had a buck tag in your pocket, you're not just shooting does. You're going to hold out for a buck just like anyone else will.
Say again?
People will say, like, hey, I would come shoot does on your property.
Yeah. Again, maybe that's an exception. But, like, if I said, fine, you can come on my property and shoot does, but don't shoot any bucks, like, maybe one, there's a small percentage.
But what I'm saying is, if they have a valid buck tag, I don't think they would just come to your property to kill does. They would go hunt somewhere that they can kill a buck.
I disagree with that. I think...
Really?
Yeah. I'm not saying they would travel across state lines or anything necessarily, but I think locals, the people I'm saying I think are happy to shoot does that would do it that don't have access are locals. They're displaced by non-residents, outfitting stuff.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But if they have a valid tag for the season, a buck tag, do you think that they would sacrifice hunting days to come kill does on your property?
Potentially, if they don't have another good place to go. So, like, I mean, use my farm as an example, like in Ohio. Granted, we do bring in a bunch of kids and we do a doe fest just like you do, but like to the general public, you know, they might look at our farm and say, well, you guys have tons of does. Like, you know, and they might think I could use the meat. I'd be happy to shoot some does, but am I going to give them permission? No, because traditionally, and I'm just using me as the example, I'm focused on the quality management of that farm. I want to grow bucks. I want to keep pressure off of it. And, you know, we have our doe fest to offset that. But if I didn't, you see what I'm saying? Like,
I do. I mean, you need to kill does though, right?
We do, but plenty of guys. And the more detached you are from the farm, like, especially if you're a non-resident, like, I think that I don't know, like use our Illinois farm as an example. Like, are you going to just let some random guy go and shoot does off of our farm?
I don't think we need to kill does in Illinois.
I don't either, but if we did, I don't know. Like, we'd have to figure that out.
So, Eric, when you do your doe fest, are you having people come on your farm to kill does?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing with ours is the guys from like New Hampshire and that area, they don't have does.
Well, I was gonna say, dude, they don't see deer, period. So like,
they don't have bucks either. But so for those guys, it's they love it. I mean, it's like the highlight of their time. They come here and they see all these does. They get to take the meat back, and it's a perfect scenario. But like, people can do that. You know what I mean? That's just the model that we have. But I think if people think outside the box a little bit, like to your point, we're managers, right? We're deer managers.
Sure.
I cringe some of these days with doe harvest when we shoot does and then we got to go track them where I don't want to go.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's not 100% you shoot it and it's down, but we try to choose the most effective, minimally invasive process. And for us, that's generally December.
Yeah.
And it's rifle. You know what I'm saying? So it's
makes sense.
You get a lot done in basically 2 days.
Eric, does the doe fest or your doe season overlap with a buck season? Is it a concurrent or is it a doe exclusive?
Yeah, no, we're doing our doe fest during
regular gun season.
Yeah.
Which I think, to where you're going, that's been a big thing that we've tried to bring up to numerous agencies and that's where I guess I was going with you inviting people while they have a valid buck tag, is that, you know, a lot of times when people are hunting and they have a valid buck tag, like that's the goal for when they're out, right? These guys inviting them from other states, you know, is a different ballgame, but in state at least, you know, when you have a valid tag during a season with a valid opportunity to kill buck, that's where most people's mind and energy is put versus, you know, I've been a huge advocate and they're not doing it, but to have Pennsylvania go back to their 3-day doe season after the concurrent normal gun season, just 3 days of doe only gun season.
Like every state should have.
Let it all go.
Frankly,
loose.
Eric, I cringe every doe fest just knowing, because it is concurrent. Neighbors are out there with guns hunting bucks while and I hate it. You know, I mean, I like that we're getting the work done, but like it's risky.
Yeah.
It definitely is. It's tough. The doe season in New York, I'm all for a later season one, like you guys are saying. We've got this holiday hunt that we just started a few years ago. That's like it's the December 26th or something. It's through the first of the year. It's like 5, 6 days, 7 days, but you can shoot either one. You know, so I mean, like, we shoot does then, but
not effective.
Yeah, if it was doe only, the mentality you speak of, Jared, is like, okay, everybody else out here is the same boat as we are. So I think that would help as well. Yeah.
I think that's a monster one.
I don't know why that's not a standard baseline. Like, why wouldn't every state just have a doe exclusive season?
Because
that needs to shoot does.
To our point earlier is like these agencies want simple seasons, right? Like Pennsylvania is one of the more complex of them. But like think about Ohio. Archery opens end of September, runs straight through till February 4th. No breaks, except for the gun season. And so
no, it doesn't break up. It's concurrent with the gun season. The gun season stacked on top.
Yeah, yes. But technically you're in that case it's less complicated because we only have one tag in Ohio. There's not like an archery buck tag and a gun buck tag. It's just that one.
Right.
So, there is no break, right? They would physically have to stop the season and break it for an antlerless only with no overlap.
I don't understand what's so complicated about that. Like, you put out a book every year
laws.
that has the dates in it. It's
just laws and enforcement. That's why I think they're doing what they're doing in New York, Eric, in terms of their earn a buck. Is they would, if they had to figure out how to make a buck tag one statewide and then how to allocate the other one per weapon, they're like, too much, right? We're going to do earn a buck because we need to kill does, but now we're going to have to let that second tag basically be used at whatever season because otherwise it's going to be a headache to manage this. That's what they're saying.
Why is that more complicated than – because they're changing two things now instead of just changing one.
Yeah, but – go ahead, Eric.
No, go ahead.
So basically as it sits right now is you get 2 buck tags, but it's one in archery and one in gun. Mm-hmm. If you do earn a buck, how can you allocate that second buck tag per season? Like it becomes more complicated for the state.
How do you allocate the second buck tag?
Correct. Right? Because I don't know right away. Like, let's say I shoot a...
Fair question. Okay, so say October 15th, I shoot my first... I shoot a doe.
Okay.
Let's say I shoot a buck October 1st.
Okay.
Okay. Then I shoot a doe October 15th with archery equipment.
So now you have a second buck tag that's good for archery or gun season.
The way they're proposing
it. Whereas traditionally, you would only have it for gun season.
Traditionally, why don't they just say it's only your second one's only good for archery season?
Well, because then all the gun hunters aren't going to kill a doe. Because they'll kill their first buck, and then why would they kill a second or a doe because they don't earn a second tag?
Yeah, I guess they wouldn't be incentivized. Okay, so let's say I'm just a gun hunter, so I don't shoot any deer until gun season. Mm-hmm. I shoot a buck.
Yep. And traditionally, how it is right now, you'd be done. No more bucks.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got that. If you muzzleloader season, you can use one.
Okay, so if you shoot a firearm one,
they would still have a second buck tag in their pocket for archery season, but they're not archery hunters.
But they're not archery hunters in that case. Right. Yeah, in this case, they could then immediately go out and shoot another buck with their gun.
Okay, so you're saying the problem with that is it doesn't incentivize gun hunters to shoot a doe.
Yeah, if you keep them separate, which is why
I see that.
I think more so. I don't even think it's the incentive. I think they're just looking at purely from an administrative and an enforcement side. It's too complicated. They're just like, well, if we're going to make them earn the second tag, they can use it whenever the hell they want. That's what they're saying.
I see.
But I think to Eric's point, the buck side of the resource is going to suffer because of it.
Yeah. And as you know, that's a fragile thing. It's fragile. Yeah. They've already got a ton of pressure as it is. And by doing this, it's not in the deer's favor at all. The buck's favor.
Mm-hmm.
They could... So that it does get a little complicated with that bow muzzleloader season. So in New York, it's after the rifle season's over.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 9 or 10 day bow muzzleloader.
Yeah.
And so you could. I'm just thinking as you guys are talking. I mean, if a guy, again, this is all individual, but if a guy was a rifle hunter only, but also was a muzzleloader hunter, you could give him the second buck tag. If he shoots one with a rifle, shoots a doe with a rifle, you could give him the second buck tag for that late season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
That's one way to do it. I mean, it is slightly complicated, but if you threw that in there, I think it would be almost simpler, don't you?
I mean, and I think that's where, a lot of these states have had different ones. Missouri's one where like you can kill your buck in archery season, but then you cannot use your second buck tag until at least gun season starts, right? They don't want you to kill 2 bucks before the gun season. In this case, obviously, New York's throwing that to the wind. The goal here is that for 2 things, for the resource in itself, you want to protect the opportunity to harvest a buck basically after some of the rutting and breeding has been done, right? That's why that's set up the way it is. So kill 1 during archery, and your second one can't be done until like at least some of the breeding is being done. And I think the other thing is to keep people incentivized to gun hunt, because you just have more people in the woods and they're likely to shoot a doe just because it's easier to kill a doe and get it out while other people are doing, gun hunting activities.
I was going to ask, just for sake of comparing, are any states running a successful earn a buck program? I Googled it, and it just says no state concurrently uses a
somebody does
regulation on a statewide basis.
Who is it?
It'd be like Alabama. It says Arkansas applied in specific limited areas.
New Jersey,
Connecticut, New Jersey, Virginia, Indiana, and West Virginia use earn a buck options, often for herd reduction in suburban areas.
Yeah, I know New Jersey does. Because I think they can, but I think you can stack like $6 with an earn a buck, like the way that you just keep piling does. But that's all because of suburban hunting is what they're trying to do there.
I guess I'm just not
statewide. I don't think anybody's done it since Michigan, or I'm sorry, Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin's the one with that. But Wisconsin wasn't keep shooting them and keep getting
no.
So it was just
one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that earn a buck, your first buck, is probably the most effective way to shoot does. It's just not very popular.
In terms of holding off on that first buck tag until absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
That's kind of what I say to this stuff. Like, what do we really want to do here? If we want to control the does,
well, that's the problem, Eric. Like every state that we talk to, like they tiptoe around every regulation because they're at the mercy of, depending on who it is, like the commissioners are all afraid of losing their jobs, which is dictated by, are they killing enough deer and are they retaining hunters? Mm-hmm. And so if you do something that even for a short period of time, like jeopardizes those, even if it is putting the resource first, their job is in jeopardy, and it's a job to them. So.
Yeah. Slippery slope for sure. Yeah. Well, I guess just hopefully people from New York or anywhere are, listen to this and just realize I had my electrician over here today, and he's a big hunter. And I said, have you seen these, what we're proposing? And he had no idea.
No idea. Yeah. Most don't, because it's out of the season, right? Like their brains are not thinking about deer anymore at this point.
True. Yeah. But I think the outreach, it also speaks a little bit like, is DEC doing enough to get this out there for people,
Yeah, probably not. Like they want to do enough to check the box that they put it out there for public input, but not so much to where like Michigan basically created a riot. It was standing room only. Like it was crazy. And again, the commissioners
that was fueled by the hunters, not because the commissioners wanted that attention necessarily, but
the commissioners are aligned with the goals for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, but that wouldn't happen without Josh, right? Frankly,
correct.
Rallying people and coming and doing all these podcasts, it was a hunter-led initiative
for sure. And so
the states are not going to go out and
it was no different than Pennsylvania a week before their first hearing putting out that they want to move rifle season up a full week, into November, and we were all like, get the hell out of here. No, we're not doing that. But, they put it out a week before for public input, and it was probably because they're required to. But it's also, most people were like, well, shit, most of these guys have already made up their mind. Because it was a week before the voting was going to happen.
They put it out a week ahead of what?
The initial meeting for it to go to final approval.
Oh, okay.
So you basically had a week. Then they had a meeting, which was the public hearing of like, okay, we're going to vote on this to go to final approval or not. And they got enough attention in a week that they said, hey, we've gotten too much blowback. We're not going to approve this right now.
Because New York in this, they had this like frequently asked question thing they put out on their website. And they speak in here about things they one buck, earn a first buck. And their response is pretty much that their feedback from hunters that don't want that. So that's why they didn't do it. So I don't know how they got that feedback or what that's coming from, but
sure,
that's what they say. So it's, at least they put it out. The fact that they've thought about it, I guess that's the first step. But according to them, hunters are in favor of it. So.
Now the problem is hunters are in favor of hunters and not the resource for the most part, right? There is a sliver of us that understand that we have to do what's best for the resource, but the majority of hunters are out because they want to be successful, right? And we're now at the era where most people, my age especially, like we grew up where deer are around every corner and in every woodlot, right? Like it seems like an infinite resource, but that's far from the reality, right? Just ask our grandparents, basically. Like, dude, they couldn't find a deer track in some places. So we're at that point where there's a generation that is now, holding down the fort for managing the resource that thinks of it as an infinite resource. So they're just trying to figure out, well, what's going to make me the most successful? And that's what they're in favor of. Whereas these agencies, frankly, need to stand up and basically do what's best for the resource. And sometimes that's not what the hunters want.
Yeah. I just think there's a lack, there's a disconnect on, I think a lot of them are well-intentioned, in the sense that their main objective, every state's main objective from the state level is managing the number of deer. There, is almost, there's no regard for, a sex ratio or an age class.
Quality's not in the mindset.
Yeah, that's not a thing that they're striving for. However, that is what incentivizes hunters. And so I think that's where a lot of the management prescriptions fall flat, is they put out these regulations that in theory make sense, but hunters, because we're incentivized by antlers and buck hunts, right? At least a lot of the people who are footing the bills and taking the actions that the state wants to see, that's what their mindset is. So they just take the legislation and they apply it to, how am I going to use that to kill another buck or kill a bigger buck or occupy more ground to do it, kind of a thing, which is fine. That's just human nature. So they should regulate in a way that incentivizes or leverages what hunters are already incentivized to do to accomplish the goal, which is shoot more does, which all of us are saying we would do, but I don't know, I'm not going to shoot one during buck season, or, I'm not going to let my neighbor do this or that. So it's if all hunters and all legislators said, we agree, we need to shoot more does, which in a lot of states is the case. I just think they need to legislate in a way that, that's where I think your earn a buck makes a lot of sense. I think it's unpopular, and if that's not the move, then fine. They should look at the issue separately first, which is just, okay, how do we protect our age class of bucks? How do we have some quality mindset here? Because there's a large group of people who are interested in seeing that. Separately, how do we incentivize people to shoot does? Because everybody seems to be in agreement that's what has to happen. So that's where your doe exclusive seasons come in. That's where your earn a bucks come in. That's where promotional campaigns around why it's awesome. That's where funding, donation programs, all that kind of stuff comes in. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, you would think. I wonder if any insurance companies or Farm Bureau or anything would
again, they just want deer shot. And they also miss the mark, Eric, on, a lot of Farm Bureau people are all in favor of baiting because they think, they'll kill more deer that way. But we don't. We just get more selective and try to figure out how to kill more 3 and 4 year old bucks with it.
Yeah. Well, why don't they? What I was going to say is, why don't they fund the venison donation places?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, put the money towards something like that where it doesn't come into it's not so invasive as baiting, for instance. That changes the whole landscape. Put some money towards the venison donation places so people can take them for free and drop them off.
I just don't know if they think it out that far, and it's also a less direct approach. It's we can fund the donation places, but why don't we just make the seasons wide open so everybody can shoot everything? That's way easier for them.
Yeah, and I don't think, no different than the access, I don't think that they're getting the participation that they think, because of what we just talked about is Where do I donate them? Where do I take them? Oh, I can take them here. It's $130 for a basic cut. And, as much as we'd like to think people will just process them themselves like we do, they won't. They don't know how. They're not comfortable with it. They'd rather have it in nice packages that they can put it into the freezer and just easily pull it out and, cook it when they want to cook it. Yeah. That's a major, there's a lot of other reasons to it, but I mean, the more you talk to people, like the processing thing, the hurdle that's there, or even if the donation thing, like that might be one of the biggest hurdles besides like seasonality and overlapping dates and stuff like that with valid buck seasons from a problem standpoint.
Yeah. It's simple for me and you to sit here and come up with this stuff, but there's lots of moving parts and people with different opinions and whatnot. But I as we're talking, like I deal with Farm Bureau. I mean, I'm a member or whatever, but it's like I'm thinking now, like I'm gonna bring that up. Why not? Let's fund these places so people can take the deer, because you can make the season like they're trying to do, just wide open. Choose as many as you want, but it doesn't mean people are going to do it.
They're not going to do it.
They don't want to just shoot them and let them lay.
Nope.
But if it is that the easier we can make it for hunters after the kill, I think that's going to help our cause.
I think there's a big sensitivity to also like when those timings are. I know a lot of states, like I think you brought it up with New York, like they have these early antlerless only seasons, and it's like, dude, it's 90 degrees in late September, early October, and like, or they're just starting to hunt and they've got a buck tag in their pocket. Like all of those things work against those seasons working and being successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it makes September heat makes the process after the kill that much harder.
Yeah.
And people
they're not doing it.
No, they're not going to do it. So I think it's a great idea to start. Let's allocate some money, some resources to that. After the kill, what happens after the kill, along with, I think that promotion idea would be awesome too. If we could get some sort of maybe it's privately funded, maybe the government would do it, but like, make doe hunting cool again, make it fun again. You know what I mean? And then just kind of also poke at the whole thing of it's a management, it's an issue that we have to deal with as hunters, kind of like a little pride factor.
Yeah. Is the New York season like Ohio where it's just contiguous throughout? Like when gun ends, an archery picks up, when archery ends, a muzzleloader.
With the exception of after the rifle season, there's a break before. No, I'm sorry. There is no break. It goes archery right into rifle.
Yep.
Right into muzzleloader. There is a small break before that holiday hunt.
There is. That has no small archery or anything?
Correct. Totally closed.
That would be your opportunity for your doe only season.
Yeah. Yep. It goes over. It would go over I guess they could leave Christmas out of it, but it's somewhere like if our season gets over, say December 15th, you'd have until the 26th with no hunting.
I mean, that would be a perfect time frame. Kids are getting out of school for winter break. And to go back to what you were saying, Eric, because this is what I'm in favor of, is like, make it fun. Like there's no other seasons are open. Kids are out of school for Christmas break or soon to be out of school for Christmas break. You've got a 3, 5, 7 day, whatever you want to do season that's just antlerless only, and just go and shoot the hell out of them, man, and have fun deer hunting again. Yeah. And it's cold, you can let them hang. You don't have to worry about things going wrong with them.
That's your counter proposal. I think that'll kill way more does and just be I think that's a way better proposal than anything, even earn a buck. It'll be more
the kids will have a blast with it. Like it's the pressure of gun season's over. For most people who were not successful in gun season, it's an opportunity to put meat in their freezer, frankly, while they have more time because of the holidays. Like I know people will say, well, holidays are busy. Yeah, but you at least usually have a couple days, whether it's before or after, that it's not hectic.
I think you can have a lot of fun with a doe only season. In that specific environment, I'm all for like wide open rifles, bazookas, corn piles, whatever you want. If all you can shoot is does, and we're trying to be as effective at it as freaking thermals, I don't care. Let's do it. Great. You know what I mean? If that's the objective.
Don't put your foot in that door. You crack it and they kick it down.
Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but like I'm all for getting the does killed, by any means necessary.
Your structure at least allows for the opportunity to see it and be like, okay, well, we have a void. We could put that in there. Like, what's it going to hurt?
Put it in there. Just stick it in the.
Yeah.
Do a week in the rifle season. It's long enough anyway.
Exactly.
It's just have a week where it's doe only. Yeah.
It's every state, dude. Ohio's the same way. It's like, dude, our
Ohio problem. The problem is
Ohio,
you have no break.
Yeah. So who's going to complain about losing 4 days or whatever?
Somebody will. Somebody absolutely will. They'll be like, well,
I'm sure somebody will, but
yeah, they will. Like
we currently have 4 months. It's like, dude, if you can't get it done in 4 months, and sacrifice for something we all agree, even hunters and non-hunters alike in Ohio, in many states are like, we all agree there's too many does. Like we can see that, hey, we're not managing this efficiently, but I'm not going to like interfere with my buck season to like get it done. But if you give me my own season and all the tools necessary to handle it, and you advertise in a way and it's funded and I can donate the meat and stuff, like, yeah, who wouldn't take advantage of that?
Yeah.
I don't think that more time hunting, like a long season, you're better off with a shorter window because it gets people out.
Yeah, sense of urgency. It's common sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I do think that you have to, whether it's a deer management unit and or counties or however New York does it, like you have to break it down to where like there's probably parts, especially at that time of year as you're getting into winter, of like the Adirondacks that don't need does hammered. Yeah. Right, so that area is closed to the season, right?
How does New York do that? What's the
management unit?
There's a northern zone, and they have different season dates. So I should clarify, I'm talking southern zone of New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you like their season starts earlier and ends earlier in the northern where there's fewer deer.
Yeah.
And the weather's
harsh.
Worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Where's all this stuff that I've been talking about is southern zone.
Which makes sense.
Right. You want to hear something crazy, dude? Did you listen to that Josh Arbacaw's podcast by chance?
Not yet. I saw a couple highlights, but I haven't listened to them.
They don't even check deer in Michigan.
Yeah, it's not.
They don't even check their deer.
Not even call in?
Nope,
no,
nothing.
Wow.
They went from literally buck pools, like where you had to come in and physically check in your buck at a buck, to nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you make any decisions? Like you don't even know what you have.
Sure. And not to mention the it's just there's no value put on them.
No.
Right? And that's not good either.
Yeah. Well, it's like when the criticism people will say about like things like earn a buck or whatever is they're like, well, people will cheat. I'm like, well, they're cheating at everything anyways. Like it doesn't matter, so what are they going to do? Take a picture of a roadkill deer, check it in? Great. Just say that great. Like it's no different than baiting. You ban baiting, 50% of the people will continue to bait and break the rules. They do it in Pennsylvania and it's not legal anyways, and then the other 50% will say, hey, I'm law abiding. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is until enforcement can catch up to make examples out of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way,
Yep, it's the people. Yeah, it's the people, not the resource, not the bait, not the thing. It's the people. But I guess that could be said about a lot of things.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Predator Camo.
Man, this one feels good, right? I know people have been looking at this picture over your shoulder for a while now. I think that was 2018, but we just, over the last, how many years, keep coming back to Predator Camo because it's been so damn good for us.
No doubt. I think we bought our first set off of Jen at the Archer Trade Show almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jen's still with the company, and the patterns have, only improved since then. They actually were recently acquired within the past couple of years. We've had a chance this past year to go and meet with new ownership, talk about redesigning a lot of the old lines, plans for new patterns, all of the above. So really excited about what's to come, not only this coming year, But in years to come, there's a lot of good stuff coming from Predator.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, it's always been going back to that breakup pattern, right? That's the historic look, whether you're talking about the spring greens or brown deceptions or fall grays.
Yeah.
I mean, that breakup is really what's been so powerful for us in a tree stand. And right now, they're letting anyone use the code HUNTR on the Predator Camo website and get 20% off any of the lines, including all the new stuff that dropped here in July.
Be the Predator.
Gun control, same thing.
Yeah. How's it going up there, Eric, as far as like your goals on your farm and stuff? I mean, are you guys having success shooting some older age class bucks? I mean, I know, and you've got access to a lot of ground up there, and you've been working on it for some time. I mean, have the past couple of years been trending in a favorable direction, or how do you feel that's going?
Yeah, they've been very favorable.
Yeah.
So, certain years better than others, and that's sometimes just bad luck or good luck. But yeah, we had an awesome year this year, between my daughter and myself and a couple friends. I mean, that we killed I think 4 matures off of our spread, which is, it's a decent sized chunk if you look at it, but it's also very checkerboard, so very much impacted by outside hunters. Just
Sure.
Yeah. Did I'm trying to recall our last conversation when you were in with Brett. Did he end up buying a farm not too far from you?
Yeah, he's actually got a couple farms in west of me.
Okay.
So he did some research there.
I know he was pretty excited about it. How are those working out for him?
I mean, so far so good. I don't think. Let's see. This year. Shoot, I can't remember if he killed one or not this year. I think he did. It was an old mature deer. It wasn't great antlers, but it was a mature deer. It's going good. I mean, as you guys know, I mean, we're wired like when you're going to do something, you want to do it all in, right? It's like to the best of our ability. Because if we're out there hunting and we are thinking to ourselves, I should have a plot here. I should have done this. I should have done this. It's just going to drive you crazy. And he's the same way. So, I mean, he's jumping in, both feet for sure. He's got some ambitious plans, but it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, man.
It's a ton of work, and he's 6 hours away.
Yeah. I know the feeling. We're 9 away from our Illinois farm.
Sure. Yeah. But it's fun. It's great. It definitely makes for some, when now we got Doe Fest and some people go to his place, like one year we had like a competition, like Brett's farm versus mine. Just make it fun, But yeah, he's been buying a couple. I think he's trying to buy a third as we speak. Yep.
Dang.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, man. I think that just like anywhere, the opportunity exists, and I like that a state is trying to make changes, and thinking that like, hey, we need to do something different. It's just there needs to be a lot more thought and understanding and feedback from the hunters, I think, before some of it gets passed, right?
Well, it's just that dynamic I described earlier. Like every state agency is so afraid from backlash from hunters that it keeps them from making the obvious decision that puts the resource first, like in a lot of cases. And so they just don't do it. It doesn't happen. It gets pushed off. And so they need some sort of protection to be able to do that.
So I think they put a 60-day comment period on this one.
Did they?
So I would say this, I don't even know when this came out. I don't have a date on it, but I'm going to say you've got probably all of April and probably most of May, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
When do they usually set your seasons?
Well, they're already set. It rotates. It varies each year. It's basically the third Saturday in November.
Okay. But they don't do so we just had ours in Pennsylvania on Saturday where they went and did final season and bag limit approval.
Yeah, you could get on right now and look 5 years in advance of what the start dates are going to be.
5 years.
It'll just be the bag limits and
it's just a rotation. The only thing that varies is when the rifle season starts.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the archery is always October 1st now.
Yeah.
Really? Regardless of the day of the week.
That's how it is in Illinois.
Oh wow.
The
Interesting.
variables that start of the rifle season. I think they do it, like I say, they do it the
third Saturday.
So it can be as early as the 15th and then as late as like the 21st. Obviously, big fan when it's the 21st.
Yeah, I bet 15th is a slaughter fest.
It is. It can be.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see how that public comment period kind of comes open because, like I said, we had a.
So how'd that play out in PA? Are they still back and forth on the Monday Saturday?
So this year it's still the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Like
done, set.
All Sundays open for deer hunting. They took Sundays away for turkey hunting. Or I'm sorry, this season. So right, what we have coming up, you have no Sundays for turkey hunting this season.
This spring. Really?
Can't hunt Sundays.
Why?
Because they didn't make the change until 2027, in which you will have Sundays for turkey season, but they're taking away a tag, so you only get one tag, not two.
Okay.
Because they think they'll overharvest.
Okay.
So we'll see. So, but anyways, the way that played out is you basically had a comment period, you had initial meeting, which I think was in late February or something, and then Saturday they approved all the bag limits and dates for 2026 into 2027 turkey season, and then that's it until next year.
Okay,
that's how they'll function those. So
what do you think is going to happen in Michigan then after all this?
So I think they're going to. I think it's going to go to $1, which is a huge one.
Yeah, wow.
And I think that they're going to move the gun season back, all in one swipe.
And it's just because of hunters coming out in support of that?
Well, yeah, and they've got a board of commissioners who are in favor of change.
Yeah, they understand.
It's like a once-in-a-lifetime board of commissioners is how Josh described it. So you need the people in the place to make the decision and be willing to risk their jobs or whatever, to make that move.
And the goal, obviously, to, a couple things. I mean, one is hopefully by taking away a buck tag, you're going to have a better age structure in the state. Potentially, you'll incentivize people if they want more deer meat to kill a doe because they only have one buck tag. Yeah. And then obviously the move of the gun season will, I think, also dramatically affect the age structure of bucks.
There were some other things on the table. I don't know if if they got changed or not, but like I thought I saw that, not from the hunter led necessarily, but I thought the commission proposed some sort of limiting non-residents as a part of that. And I know Josh also talked about reducing the number of antlerless seasons. Because they felt like it was there was too many. Like they have but none of them were exclusive. They all overlapped with something.
When I talked to Josh right after the meeting, he said, I said, what do you think is going to get through? He's like, we're going for it all.
Yeah. What was the third one he proposed? So you covered the two. Mm-hmm. One was $1. One was
moving
the gun season back, and the third I can't recall.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So this sorry if we're repeating stuff, but I didn't listen to that podcast. The commissioners that they have, how long have they been in place then?
I don't know.
This
fairly recent. Like they at least some of them may have been in place,
I think
but
they're
now
2-year terms.
Yeah, now overall the board is aligned.
And how do they get appointed?
Yes, governor appointed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, governor appointed.
And has their governor changed lately?
No. Nope. But I think they just
somebody aged out of there.
I think the people that basically said, "Hey, I want this position," because that's usually, even though it's governor appointed, somebody says like, "Hey, I want to be in this position."
That's a big deal that it's a 2-year term. I think that's what's killing us, like in Ohio, is that we've got guys that haven't done anything since the 80s.
Here was the other one. They had like a 15-day muzzleloader season, shorten it to 3.
There you go. Oh, and they put a rifle in it a while ago.
Yeah,
that's why
take it out.
Problem. Take the rifle out of the muzzleloader season.
Make it just muzzleloader, not 15 days, only 3 days.
So they did kind of like what they're trying to do with your earn a buck thing is they said, well, we'll give you, it used to be a muzzleloader season. They're like, well, let's just open it up to all firearms.
For 15 more
days.
For
15 days.
So when are they going to move the start date back to? How far back?
I'm looking
to the Monday after Thanksgiving, or right.
I think it was the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was trying to find it.
Gosh, that's inspiring.
It is. It's definitely inspiring. It's a big deal.
It is. Yeah. That's gonna. That all those things right there will totally reshape Michigan in probably, what do you think, 5 years
Yeah, oh yeah,
or less?
or
I mean,
less.
that's going to be that'd be people going to Michigan instead of Ohio.
I know. Well, and you'd like to think that if one state does something right, that the others would kind of follow suit. But like, look where we're at now. You got 15 states doing a lot of things wrong and one state doing everything right.
I don't see anything on the season date and some of this new stuff. Like, I think because I think that was the one I questioned, and he was like, no, we're going for it all. But the big one is, the December firearm season, which was like a 2-week, like basically gun season ended at the end of September or end of November, and then immediately this 2-week firearm season, which was muzzleloader and rifle, picked right back up. So it was like a month-long gun season is what happened.
Wow.
And they're going to take that from 15 days to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday only. So that reduces a huge cap on it, especially, and then obviously the $1. And then they're going to move up the late antlerless season to basically be earlier in December. Because a lot of people didn't participate in
After
that.
hearing kind of the issues here, Eric, like if I was in the commissioner chair, I don't think you guys should do anything with your earn a buck. I think you should just leave the buck seasons the way they are. And I think you should do a doe only season when Jeremy proposed. I think that's your lowest hanging fruit. That's a good place to start.
I would agree. I'd sign up for that. I would definitely sign up for that. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to go the next step, which is what Josh is doing and saying, hey, our age class and number of bucks is really suffering in the current situation, not just the does, then you talk about also going to a $1 state. But I mean, I don't know. I see Illinois is my example of, and maybe Missouri. Like I see some states, doing well with that. Like we benefit from a $2 state. In Illinois, we can go, and personally, we use that to shoot a management buck and a trophy buck each. That's the mindset.
Yeah.
For sure. For as many of us as there are doing that, there's guys that are just like, well, I'm just going to shoot 2 1-year-olds or two, whatever they can shoot. So I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's like, as long as, the general population is happy and you're meeting some management objectives, then, some places can tolerate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, well, I mean, here's the other thing, and nothing against Illinois, but more relatable to Pennsylvania or Michigan especially, is that, like, New York is hunter dense.
It's
right.
very...
So, like, when you're talking about a $2 state in a Michigan and or a, New York, like, it's a significant amount of guys hunting. So even if the success rate is, I don't know, 10%, that still might be 50,000 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah. You're right. There isn't a high percent supposedly to kill too, but when you got that many hunters, for sure, that's a lot of tags out there.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, that's a big part of what it's.
Who would oppose that too? I mean, if you guys were able to voice your opinion and say like, hey, how about in lieu of an earn a buck, which some people just don't like even to hear, even if they don't know. They just don't like the word. What if you just said, why don't we just give them another doe season? Like, who would be opposed to that?
And keep it $2 or for New York? Or?
Keep it. Don't change it. The only thing you do is introduce a new doe season in lieu of their current proposal.
Right. It would just be somebody complaining about taking time away to buck hunt. But
what do you mean?
Who cares?
Taking time away to buck hunt.
By not getting like having the tag be available whenever they want to use it.
Well, but it's already not available. We're giving you something, not taking anything away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Eric, ultimately, would you be more in favor of New York being a $1 state?
For sure. I would be, yes.
Yeah.
I would be. Yeah. And that's, I say that knowing it's going to, affect me in the sense that I won't have an opportunity to take a second one, but I'm not doing it for me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing it for the resource. And that's what, a lot of people can't get to. So.
It's an interesting question. Again, my only exposure to it is Illinois right now. And I don't know, cause we benefit a lot. I really enjoy having the $2 tags. And I don't know that we've been negatively affected by other people shooting $2 enough for me to want to change that. I can't honestly recall a situation where it's happened.
I don't think we are, and that's just because of the neighborhood we're in.
Could be.
versus like I would assume some people for sure are.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if there's plenty of people, and again, no knock to them, like it's their right to do it, but they'll shoot the first 2 1-year-olds that walk by on opening morning of gun, versus shooting.
I hate that.
And it's like, well, what for what? And it's like meat. Well, it's like, why didn't you kill 2 does?
Meat's meat.
And they don't. The bottom line is they don't want to. They want to kill buck, which is fine. Kill buck and a doe instead of 2 1-year-olds.
Yeah. But some of this, like in Michigan and maybe New York too, is that old mentality. I mean, it's a shift.
Man.
It's like those people are either dead or not hunting anymore.
Yeah.
So like as time goes by, if we got this younger generation, I say it all the time, like I was raised to do what you said, shoot the first 2 antlered butt, right? But like, I don't know what it was. Like I do know what it was. I mean, it was just educational, and I just never gravitated that way. And I think for the betterment of my family have totally shifted that. And now my kids, it's like they look down on, and I say this, maybe that's not the right word. They frown upon people that shoot small bucks, right? They don't even want to do it. They don't even want to do it themselves, not even for their first one. I mean, my daughter, she was just like, she had a certain thing in her head. She wasn't going to shoot only a certain size, That's just the way they grow up. So I think all that that generational mindset shifting is helping our cause too in these states. So
yeah. I mean, I grew up the same way. Like first legal buck I saw, I was, you killed it, and I think
did we have antler point restrictions when we were starting?
Mine came in.
I think we did.
Mine came in the 5th or 6th year of my hunting. It was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was in place when I started.
Yeah.
I remember having a conversation. It's got to be an 8-pointer.
Because I think I only killed 1 buck before antler point restrictions were put in place. I killed a spike. I think that's the only buck I killed that was under 3 points on a side. But I remember even then, I think I killed like a 1-year-old 7-point on opening day, and after, like literally as that deer's like dying and doing backflips in the background, probably a 3-year-old 20-inch 8-point comes out and walks right under my stand, and I'm like, oh, messed up. And so that was my moment of like, I don't need to shoot any more of those deer. I want to shoot that deer, and I can't shoot that deer if I shoot that deer every time when it works out first. So like everybody has a moment. My grandpap till the day he died killed every 3-point he saw. Like, he just, that's just his like he grew up in an era where like you didn't see a deer track. So like I remember like just putting like, even when the antler point restrictions were in, it was like the first half rack 3-point that came by, he shot. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, legal buck, right? I'm like, yeah.
But my grandfather, God bless him, he's 94, he's still alive. But every time we would shoot a doe, again, this generational thing, one of his many lines was, wow, that thing had twin bucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it did. Of course it did.
Twins too, not just
twin
one,
bucks. Yeah. Triplets on the rare occasion. That's just their mindset. Like they didn't kill does. They killed the first legal buck that they saw. And that's just how they grew up. And like very few of them, I think, ever evolved into, I guess wanting more. Camaraderie was their thing. Success was a measure of I shot it. Like those guys were, I know when we actually did have doe seasons eventually, they were meat hunters if they did go out. Like they didn't give a shit if it had milk on its lip. Like they were knocking it down. Like they just wanted to bring meat home, and that was their mark of a man, I think, was to be successful.
Right. They used to have, now that I think of it, before my time, a doe-only rifle season. Or not rifle, it was only shotguns in New York. My grandfather used to talk about all the shots. He said it was crazy. People would do it.
Nuts.
They would do it. Yeah, to our point. I mean, when it's a season just for that, people do it.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, we used to put deer drives on. Like we did deer drives on doe season. I think it was like opening day of doe season, and at that point we had county doe tags. So like I had punched mine already, like, and you only got one, so I was out. So I was just driving, and I think my uncle was using like shotgun and slugs and missed like 18 times, and I was like, dude, What do we got to do to put one? Like, I mean, it's like in your lap at this point. Like, I don't know what we got to do. We're gonna have to go buy more slugs here pretty soon, though, because we're about out.
So my grandfather, I keep talking about, he'll never listen to this anyway. But the funny story with him, we finally got his mindset shifted to, all right, we're gonna shoot does, and we actually had like this is during rifle camp or whatever. Going back, I was young. We're gonna shoot does. Everybody's buying in. We had a doe pool for the
heavy doe. Yeah.
So Gramps is buying in. All right. Well, leading up to this, he had missed a lot of deer, including bucks. Right. He'd shoot and not get them, and he'd shoot at does and not get them. So we're doing this little drive, and Gramps is down at the end, and we hear 2 shots, and it's him, and I'm doing the drive. I walk up to him, and I got dropped 2 of them. You can probably see where this is going. They're both button bucks. Oh. So that was the end. That was the end of that's the last doe that my grandfather, that he ever shot at. But it's just fun. It was fun. We do not bring that up.
It's tough, man. My dad's done some similar stuff, and you learn, like, because I beat him up pretty bad over it. Like, dude, guys get
for what, killing button bucks.
Mm-hmm. Guys get,
dude, I don't beat anybody up over it anymore.
Oh, well, I did, because I was young. I was a teenager, and I gave him a really hard time, because in my mind I was like, how could you not know? And it was with a bow, like, you know.
Did you ever shoot? You never shot a button buck?
No,
really?
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
Damn, dude,
I'll admit,
I probably got a bucket full of buttons somewhere.
I'll admit, at times it can be hard to tell. Like, I'll be staring at them through the binos, and I'm like, even the does, the fawns have this little twist, like they have calyx there. Sometimes it can be tough to tell, but
I've never shot one either. I've shot fawns on a few occasions.
Oh yeah,
but not buttons. But it blows my mind how many hunters, especially even rifle hunters, they don't even bring binoculars.
No, they got a scope.
Yeah, that's what they say. It's like, man, all right, you're gonna aim that gun at anything you want to look at, but
Well, I think it's just that, like, because I didn't grow up managing anything. Like, I didn't have property. Most of it was public and permission. So, like, I paid attention, but I didn't at the same time. If anything, I was just making sure that it didn't have visible antler, because then I'm in if it's 3 inches or more, and like now I'm in a illegal zone. Mm-hmm. So it was just like, is it bald or at least not visible? Shoot it.
It's interesting. I mean, we just talked, it's like the development of a hunter mentality. Like, you know, we all went through some sort of, and are still probably developing. And, you know, you said, well, I just shot whatever first. And then I had this encounter where there was a bigger buck that came in after. So then I decided, well, I want to do that kind of thing.
It's evolving.
Yeah. And a lot of people that we associate with, I mean, Eric, you're definitely this way. It's like, well, we really appreciate whitetail deer. I'm really passionate about the species. We love to see what they do and become. We enjoy, like, being in the woods with them and stuff. And I think I'm not saying it's the fullest point of evolution, but like we push ourselves to a point where I want to see an extreme age class, extreme antler potential. I want to see what the thing can become. And at the same time, at least me, you know, you get more acquainted and you've killed enough of them that you start feeling less and less like, oh, I have to kill everything I shoot. You're like, well, you know, I'm just here. I've got the bow, but I'm observing with my binos, and, you know, I'm just it's just the experience of the season. I want to live the whole season out, and I want to try to achieve that goal at the end of it. And I'm not saying that is the end of the line or should be for everybody, but it's interesting. Like, I know some guys that, just because of the time frame, they happen to be of that generation. You know, they're in their, Willie is an example of a guy that I would talk to who has shot deer every year, and Denny, my Uncle Dale's father-in-law, till the day they died, you know, he's just got a wall full of fork horns, you know, and he mounts them all. And it's I don't know, like that, whether there definitely is some industry influence and or exposure and or use of technology. Like, we have cell cameras, so it's like every single day I'm seeing multiple 3, 4, 5-year-old, but like, we're well acquainted, we know what's out there. You know, in some ways it's a negative, but like, that definitely drives us to pass deer, you know, and do stuff like
well,
that.
You're just, you know, you're not as enamored by a buck, right? Like, a lot of these guys are, you know, they work 40 plus hours a week, and, they go home and they have kids with sports or second jobs or whatever it is. Like they don't, hunting to them is just a couple blips on the radar in the calendar year. Yeah. So when they're out in the tree stand and a buck comes in, it's like they're enamored by that buck.
And that's awesome. I'm glad that happens. And we absolutely need that demographic of people to control deer numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I don't blame the hunters, or I don't blame crossbow hunters for hunting with a crossbow. It's legal. It's effective. That's where, I've said it before, but I think it's the state's responsibility to manage the resource and how we hunt them and stuff. But it wasn't the point I was making. It's just interesting to know, like, and Willie as the example, like to this day, he shot good bucks, great bucks, and then, but that's not his goal for the next year. He doesn't want to, he's just like, well,
whatever comes by.
It restarts, and he's just like, well, I just want to shoot a buck again.
Yeah, that's interesting. It resets. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think it's just how people are wired. I mean,
yeah.
Very good thing we don't all think the same way, but
for sure. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Beast Broadheads.
Dude, Beast Broadheads. Man, we've been advocating for and shooting expandable, especially big expandable broadheads for years and years now. And it just seems like they just keep making them better and better. And ultimately, with the relationship we forged with the Belmars this past year, we're just super excited to be shooting the Beast Broadheads this year.
I mean, this broadhead it's the world's sharpest expandable broadhead out there.
Yeah.
It has best penetration, and it's got bone avoiding technology.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we want to create the most trauma possible on a deer when we release an arrow. The Beast Broadhead does that for us every time.
So right now you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount on anything on the Beast website. So definitely go check out beastbroadheads.com.
What else you guys got going on? Anything major, like, strategy wise, or like with hunting or land and stuff like that? You got anything?
Can I tell them about my clear cut? I know you're tired of hearing about it, but I've got a fun project going on. All of our timber we've got enrolled, and we're waiting for funding from Equip. So they'll pay us.
I've been listening to some of this. I know what you're talking about.
They'll pay us to manage the invasives. And so that's all kind of on hold. But separate from that, I've got a clear cut that years ago they were talking about putting solar panels in. So it's a 12 acre, kind of a, what would you call that? Not an island, but
like a peninsula.
A peninsula, yeah. It jets out from our block of timber into this big, 60 acre ag field. And so they went through 5-6 years ago maybe, and they took out all of they harvested any desirable trees that were in there. There was probably 75 to 100 trees left standing, mostly squirrely cherries, hickories, maple, stuff like that. So I started down this road of wanting to, when they did that, it acted like a clear cut, and the deer just sucked in there, and we started holding some good bucks and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like this, and, over the past 2-3 years, it's continued to be good, but I see it, starting to revert to pasture, and some of the structure starting to break down and stuff. And I'm like, it's such a good, use of space that I'm going to invest some effort into that clear cut. So what we've done till this point is, and we're, mid transit here, I'm still working on it, but what we've done so far is Dad and I went in and cut down the rest of the trees, probably 50 to 75 trees we cut down. And I left like 10 or 15 white and red oaks. That's all I left in there was, straight, good quality mass bearing trees.
Okay.
After that, went in and had a drone spray the whole thing with Glide late March in an effort to kill, everything, but mainly targeting at that time. It's the cool season grasses, your fescues and stuff. I was trying to hit those. That worked really well. We went back, was it just last week, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
Went back last week. And prior to that, worked on putting fire breaks around the whole thing. I had a skid steer come in with a drum mulcher. There was one side we really needed to create a break on. Pulled an old barbed wire fence out of there. Took like a full day and a half of Dad and I working on that. Got our fire breaks in, and then last week went in and burned off the whole thing. Sent a fire through it, and that went really well. And so now we're waiting for the cool season grasses are going to be the first thing to spring back. I'm going to wait 2-3 weeks and then hit that again with the drone with clethodim, a grass selective herbicide. Mm-hmm. And we're going to also seed it with a seed mixture from Pheasants Forever. It's kind of like a CRP mix. It's got everything from switchgrass to alfalfa to a bunch of forbs and pollinator flowers and stuff in it. We're going to seed that from the drone as well. And then next year, we got a tree planting going into it. We'll double bar in all around all the structure and stuff. So
nice.
Long-term objective is to turn that back into an epic clear cut. In the meantime, I've got a few pockets of switchgrass, heavier switchgrass going into more of the structure areas where I expect them to bed. We'll do the whole border of the entire 12 acres with switchgrass. So there's kind of a multiple edges there, but the hope is that 3 to 5 years from now, it's epic habitat in there with structure, with edge, with cover, with food, for us to really, base a hunting strategy on that whole part of the farm around.
Yeah. So one question was, what trees are you going to plant next year?
It's a good question. I think we're still undecided. It'll probably be a combination of, and that is to do with equip. So they may have some input on that, but I think if it was my opinion, I'd do a combination of mass bearing of oaks, white oaks, whether they'll let us do different variety, whatever variety of oak is going to go well in there. Mm-hmm. I would like to do some like coniferous trees, like some probably spruce is what would do well.
Which if you do, then you're done burning.
Well, we'll be done burning anyways because we're planting, young oaks and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, oaks are fire favorable. That's what I'm saying. Just for the future.
That's part of it. I don't know the full answer to that question. What's going to get planted in there? In my mind, it's some combination of oaks.
What about like the red
some
osier
spruces,
dogwoods,
and maybe in some of the lowland, like ditchy areas, maybe some shrubs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some shrubs.
And then, since there's no big trees, I'm assuming how are you going to hunt this?
I did leave some of the better trees are around the perimeter. So essentially, and there may be some exceptions to the rule, like when this is planted with corn on 3 sides, maybe, and we get an east wind, maybe I can act. I left a few stand trees that could work out for that, but predominantly I'll hunt the north and south side of it because that's where we have access. On the south side, so on north winds, I have a box blind on a fence gap on right on the south side of it. So they come up out of this clear cut, they'll walk the edge that is the fire break we just put in, and I have standing crop to my west and food plot and feeder to my east. So there's kind of an epicenter there. There's a blind. We can hunt that on north winds. On the south side,
are you going to mow any sort of trail configuration in that, or just totally leave it?
No, just because there's enough topography there, and there's still a lot of treetops and stuff down there that I just don't think you could get through it.
Okay.
The fire break we put there, I think will act as that. I think they'll come out of that clear cut, they'll hit that edge, and they will use that as a trail up to us.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And then on the real quick on the north side there. So I cut out a small food plot inside of the north end of that food plot, and I've got a nice stand tree there with a tree in it. So southwest winds, we can hunt a small clover plot on that end of the clear cut.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm in the process. I've taken fields, back and trying to get them into cover, and I've done multiple tries at it.
Okay.
Mostly successful, but that's why I was asking.
Successful or unsuccessful?
Well, how do you want to measure success?
Are the deer using it in a way that you had hoped they would? Are they bedding in it? Are they?
Yeah, not 100%. No, not 100%. And some of them are going to take more time just because of how we're doing it. One thing I do wish I got switchgrass to establish in this spot, but I should have sprayed the cool season grasses. And anytime going forward, where I'm going to take a field, a pasture, something like that, I think is extremely
okay.
valuable.
So here's what I think at this point, Eric. And this is not perfect, but I've been trying to do that forever, and I still have a lot of fields that need this. I think what I would do at this point is, first of all, I'm not relying on warm season grasses to provide bedding, cover, and structure. I just don't think it can accomplish that. I use that, almost exclusively for edging and insulating timber. Yeah. Maybe I'm slightly out of order here on this. What I would probably do though is I would spray what's there. So in my case, it's pasture. I'm going to try to, and probably multiple sprayings, I'm going to try to kill that cool season grass out of there with Gly or whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to probably then go and do either strictly warm season and or one of these CRP mixes that I got from Pheasants Forever. It's got some other 4B stuff in it. It's got all kind of, it's a combination. That's probably better. I'm going to drill that in there, or I'm going to plant that in there. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to feather my edges pretty hard. I'm going to fall a bunch of trees out into the edges of the plot, and I'm going to pull several of them out into the middle of it. And I'm going to put as much structure out in the middle of it as I can. The following year, I'm going to then go in and do a tree planting into my CRP stuff. And so the idea is that, after year 2, you're starting to have that mixture mean something and work with the structure that you've placed in there. And by 5 through 10, the tree planting starts to take over. Maybe the switch, the warm season starts to die off a little bit, but now you're left with actual early, successional regen.
Yeah, I like that. Yep. We got all that stuff you mentioned. Aside from that Pheasants Forever mix, I'm going to look into that.
I'll send it to you. I have the exact mix. It's Brandon. His podcast is dropping next week. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be interested in that. Yep. Great.
So what have you done? What's to contrast that? What are you seeing not success with? Is it more early season, more switchgrass that they're just not using?
That's the glaring one. Is I just did a 8-acre field of straight switch, and now I've got it carved up and trying to, do different things because it just doesn't. It's not what I wanted. So the switchgrass looks amazing. I mean, that was a task in itself to get it there. But man, the switchgrass is amazing, but that doesn't mean that it's effective. So yeah, that's the big one. And then I'm big on like the conifer plantings because it's structure. Aside from the benefits, it's kind of a limited resource in this area too. Yeah. So I just think giving them something that is, they can't get anywhere else. Visual screening, thermal, all that stuff. So yeah, I get thousands every year, and I just plant them. Some make it, some don't. But some are for screening, some are for bedding. I've got them now in hardwoods, manually planted. Yes, it's just it's going to take time, but I mean, I can see trees I planted 15 years ago. So yeah, that whole field, old field, old pasture, and making it better is that's something that's. I seem to always be working on one of those somewhere. Yeah.
Well, I think, where you're located at, and a lot of people listen to this, whether in Michigan, Wisconsin, whatever, thermal cover is a huge piece of that puzzle for your farm, especially with the amount of food that you're leaving, for later in the season. If you don't have that thermal cover to pair with it, that makes it really difficult for it all to work together.
Yeah. Here's maybe a question you can answer. I have the earliest that I planted any pine trees was 8 or 10 years ago, and they're getting to the point now, have been for a couple of years, where they get used. They provide some thermal cover, definitely some screening. My fear with, or like what I'm seeing with these pine tree plantings is like long term, I got to cut them all down. Like at a certain point, what do they offer?
Yes, to a point. So like if you're doing visual screening,
leave those.
Obviously. Yeah, that's right. Those, and you got to get the right ones too, which I didn't always over the years. But so then they have a short life.
What would you say, Eric, is the right one for screening? Like I
planted too many white pines over the years. Yeah, and they start out looking great. Yeah, they're long, they're beefier, the plant looks better, but
then they get trunked out. Yeah. Versus like your spruces and stuff.
And Norway spruce is the move. Yeah. Frankly, we planted like a 50-50 mix, Eric, of white pine and Norway spruce. Every single white pine died, got eaten, got rubbed on, died. Yeah. I was left with just a spruce. So if you're in a high deer density area, I just would stay away from your white pines.
Yeah. Lesson learned on that one. I haven't bought any whites in quite some time, but I think it's white spruce is actually good to put in shaded areas, timber.
Okay.
Versus Norways.
Norways tend to want it more sun.
Yeah.
But to your point, like they do have a relatively short life for a tree. Right?
Do they?
Where they get to a point where they're not doing much good. And I've got some of those even spruces where they're becoming somewhat of a problem. It might be it might be a problem on something as simple as a view.
Yeah.
a view,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
it's a stealing from a house. And then, something where maybe the deer can't even get through them. It might be so thick. So I just think that's why my strategy over time is just plant a few every year.
Yeah.
When I say a few, I mean, I think I got 3,000 this year, but
Yeah.
anyways, just, a few every year, whatever it is. And then, you got to be looking, all right, so I'm already looking, those white pines are going to die off. Like they're going to either die off or they're going to be able to see underneath them. So I've got another 3 rows behind them, this year, just stick them in there because it's always evolving. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have spruces that are like 15 years old?
10 to 12. Yeah.
Okay. How do those look for you? Like if the objective is, in this specific case, if you planted those for thermal cover, you say, okay, I want them to, be able to use this during the winter, embed in here kind of a thing. Yeah. Do those spruces continue to have the low hanging for their entire life? Or do they at some point get up above, to a point where, there's not usable cover at the deer level, like the white pines do?
Right. My experience is they keep it. They keep it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I may not, have to. Other than, I do still think a thinning is warranted from time to time. Like, so they'll use it,
sure,
not exclusively as thermal cover, but so they have some opening. Like, I think guys who have those large cedar swaths, like, it seems like a lot of work to take them out, but it's not the worst thing because you can go in and create these openings, like these little bedrooms, and whether they regen with just natural stuff that's there or you plant something in there, that's kind of cool, like a pockety little bedroom type of a setup.
Yeah, the pines sometimes too. I think the deer love when they're not too tall because they can sit in there, they get the block from the conditions, but they still get the sun.
Yeah.
So like but you can't keep the tree at 5-6 foot.
Right.
Either, so but yeah, those old fields it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, what about on your end, man? What are you seeing as far? I mean, I think we covered the old field stuff there. What kind of projects do you guys have going this year?
Let's see. Probably it's just for us, so much of it's crop rotation, and that determines a lot of
sure,
where we're going to hunt and how we're going to hunt. Really, it's those fields. I mean, that's like right now, that's like front and center because I got to get these trees in. But besides that, it's just thinking about those individual deer that are alive and just pretty much going all in and tweaking things, whatever needs necessary on those. Yeah.
Whatever happened with it? Maybe it has been a year since we talked on here, but do you have a 200 or a prospect last time we talked?
Yeah, there was. Remember the one he died from that? What are they? Ringworm,
brainworm.
Yeah.
No way.
So that one, he died. So maybe you're thinking of the buck that I actually killed this past season.
Okay.
He was the year prior. He was just one of those deer that had amazing, awesome potential, like lots of points, crazy stuff. And I hunted him in 24, and he, I was close a few times, never saw him, but I knew it was close based on cameras. And he disappeared during the rut, and he came back, and he had half his rack busted off, and decided not to hunt him. Well, this year he actually went down in score, I think from his injuries. And I did toy with the idea of trying to let him go to see if he recovered, if he could bounce back big time. Cause sometimes they will
100%.
But he's a 5.5-year-old buck this year. And I killed him. So it was awesome. It was really good footage and everything. The hunt's going to come out, I think, like in probably July or something.
Cool. Did you find any sheds on your farm of anything that you're excited about for this year?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not all of them that I would like, but yeah. Some of the stuff last year we were finding is we were getting these deer. We have the food, right? And we had two big bucks just show up in December, and like, I just don't know. The big question for me is, all right, are we ever going to see them again during October, November, or is it strictly going to be this late thing? Can we do anything to change that? I don't know. I'm not sure. We're going to try, but Yeah, I mean we had 2 big ones, and they're still alive as far as I know too.
Jeez.
I don't know the answer to that question. I know some guys would say yes, for sure. You know, myself personally, I can't point to any and say definitely this deer showed up late and we kept him, kind of a thing. But myself personally, I would just focus on killing them in December. Like if they happen to live that far again, I would just have a strategy and be ready to go.
That's the problem. You got to get them through, 2/3 of the season to see him again.
Well, you know how it goes. Just, you know what I mean? It's not like you're banking on that deer, but like keep them back of mind, and set the stage. And when the time comes,
especially with 2 buck tags.
That's right.
Yeah. Probably the other thing we've been doing is really focusing on not sitting right on the destination or even some sort of a food plot, because we're fortunate here. A lot of times we can get rides out, bump them and stuff, but like if we can avoid that, why not? So like we got some big shifts going on where we're taking food away from places because we can sit there and hunt and see a lot of deer and even, now and then kill a big one. But when we have, it's been with a gun, and I'd much prefer do it with a bow. So like we're taking plots that we're going to transition to cover, and then we're going to see less deer, but deer are going to filter through there and basically push themselves ultimately to the destination. So we got a fighting chance of getting out of those stands or blinds.
I think that's a great idea. I think that we sabotage ourselves a lot by hunting food sources. I could, Eric, you won't know what I'm talking about necessarily, but because I don't have a map on us here, but Jeremy and I just made the same decision. Like on our 80 in Illinois, there's a spot that originally we looked at, and just even a year ago, we stood and looked there and we're like, food plot here, we'll back off this, we'll put a blind on the backside, boom, we'll do that. Yeah. I think we're evolving here a little bit so we are not going to do that. We're looking at that spot and saying it's too good to put food there. I think they're coming through here anyways. Let's endorse it by putting a food source over here and not hunt that, and just continue to know that this is the spot that we're going to catch them coming through on north winds. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I hope and again, it's going to take a little time in my case, to get that area grown up. But you talk about pulling trees that you cut down out in it. I mean, we're going to start doing that. We can dig up big pine trees right now, transplant them in there, like 5-6 footers. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you can speed that process up. And then I don't know about you guys, what you're doing, but like in those field situations, I'm probably going to have like strips of clover intersecting, to get them. And the idea there being narrow is, like a lot of times deer will move deer, you know what I mean? Like a deer's out in a thin plot and another one comes, they're going to kind of get them going. So that's kind of the other thing we're going to add into these spots is those narrow clover strips, kind of obviously have them coming by a blind or
for sure, dude. It's so much fun trying to manipulate these things and get properties to flow in a certain way. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, some deer will follow it, and then you get years where they won't. So,
Are you doing anything out of state this year, or did you this past year?
No, I did not. I missed the deadline this year, but I've got a good friend that's, for me with my farming schedule, it's very difficult to go September, October, November, anywhere. Okay. It's a lot of the reason I put so much effort in here is because it's here and I can do it. There's a January mule deer tag in Mexico, I think, that is awesome timing for me. It's archery, it's the rut.
Yeah. So, are you looking at? Do you have a contact down there or something?
Yeah.
Interesting. We'll have to touch base on that. I was looking at the same thing. Not the same place, but also a Mexico mule deer hunt in January. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
You got somebody to go with? You going with Brett?
I had a different guy that my friend Phil actually gave me the connection. He's real close with this outfitter, so I was gonna go with him. He's not going this coming year either, but be 20. Well, let's see, it would be
28,
7 to 28, right? I definitely wanna do it. It's not super expensive. This unit, I can't remember the number on the unit, but it's not like you're not. They killed a 184 or something this year, but that's not normal. So you're in the 150s, 160s, which I don't want that's fine. That's cool.
All right.
That's great.
All right.
I don't know what you're looking for, Jared.
I don't know either. Well, the other one I was looking at is very expensive, but it's 180 and up, for sure.
Yeah. See, yeah, I would almost rather go that route.
You would.
Really. I mean, I don't know how much more you're talking, but
a lot.
Significant.
A lot.
Yeah. How much cabbage are you going to sell this year?
How much cabbage we talking here? Yeah. Well, we can talk about it and we'll flesh out both options. It's
exponentially.
Yeah. Well, I'm not committed to any. I'm not doing it this year, probably more likely. So, but I that Mexico mule deer hunt in January, it's good timing. Mm-hmm. I love to mule deer hunt. I mean, it's been years since we're hoping to draw North Dakota for early September this year, but we'll see. So either way, let me know. Yeah, if you need somebody to go with or something, we can figure something out.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah.
Cool, dude.
Well,
yeah, we're. Do we still hold the record for the longest podcast? That one when we got drinking whiskey and
probably
was on.
I don't know.
It's all over. It's either that or a Bomar. One of the two.
I think we were like 5 hours or something.
That was a long one. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Those in-person bourbon ones go long. Yeah, they go long.
Yeah. Well, we need to wrap one up here a little shorter to bring down the average. So
yeah, no, it's fine. Well, we appreciate it, dude, and hopefully we covered some New York stuff. And like we kind of said pre-podcast there, I think I'm working on trying to get Jeremy Hurst, the deer biologist, on to kind of circle the wagons on that side too. And yeah, just see. Hopefully they think this one through before they jump in. Fortunately,
it sounds like there's an easy answer to it. Just, hey, don't do what you're proposing. Just keep it the way it is and give us an extra dose.
Once it's put in writing, it's hard to change or make an amendment to it for sure.
Jeremy Hurst, he's been there a long time.
Yep. Yes.
So have you is he definitely responded or not?
So I'm working through the communications division to get to him. So I have to schedule it through them for him. Yeah.
So just to review though, if you go to justhuntclub.com, we've got a survey that we put on there as it relates to this. So it's just another way to gather a bunch of information. So if you go fill that out, that would be awesome. And then it's got some statements on there from our group and what we feel about it. And then just as important, if not more important, is actually go directly to the New York State DEC and submit your opinion on that.
That's a big one for sure. Yeah. Cool, dude.
I see your proposal or your
survey's on there.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, man. Well, we appreciate it, and we'll definitely be following along and seeing what progresses here in the state of New York.
Yeah, hopefully we can draw some inspiration from Michigan. I think that's
it's a huge move, man. I mean, that's a big one, and if those get pushed through, and like I said, I'm glad states are attempting change, right?
Some are.
We beat the hell out of Ohio because they don't do anything. Just continually
stand by and let it happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm encouraged by them at least trying and at least having the discussion. I mean, it's no different than our podcast. The whole point of it is to have a discussion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just, let's at least talk about it and see what we can do. So by putting this out there, right or wrong, it's okay, cool. Can we have a discussion about it? And can we find a resolution that makes sense from at least this being the first step?
Mm-hmm. Well, and you guys, to your credit, have had a huge impact on that too. I mean, you've had multiple states discussed, and you got a big platform. So that's appreciate you guys.
It was really cool, and I guess encouraging to hear. Josh maybe texted you the same thing, but basically said that he knows for a fact several of the commissioners listened to the podcast that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and said that it had an impact on them, in some way. So that was pretty cool.
Hey, man, that's what it's for. I mean, that if we can make a difference, just even this conversation, how many, to your point, your guy who came in who's a huge hunter didn't even know these things were on the table. So hopefully people listening to this are whoa, wait a minute. I'm going to go to Just Hunt Club and take that survey. I'm going to go to the DEC and make sure my voice is heard there. And again, it's now creating a discussion and positive things happen from that, right? Mm-hmm. It's when people come out of the woodwork and they start to put their comments in and they start to have discussion and debate about it. At the end of it, there will be something positive. Yeah. It's got to get started somewhere.
Right. So I guess I would encourage people focus on what they're proposing, right?
Right.
First.
Right.
You got to address that.
Yep.
Okay. But I don't think it's not a bad idea to throw other things out there, right? Like
no,
it's okay. Let's talk about these $1 or earn a buck. Just throw it out there, because that, to your point, it gets the conversation going, and there's not usually anything bad that comes out of it.
Well, and I don't know what New York's commission is like. I've brought it up on here. Like Pennsylvania, they did this whole thing, and then they kind of said, "Hey, we're not going to do this." And then in the middle of it, one of the commissioners was like, "Hey, I'm just going to make an amendment. We're going to keep small game season open all of deer gun season." And everybody's like, "Okay, great." And they just penciled it in, and I'm like, "It's that easy?" So like maybe, like, I'm not saying it's the same, but maybe per all this discussion, like it's like, okay, hey, let's address what's out here, but let's also make them known what we want, because can they make an amendment as simple as like, hey, we're not going to change this now, but why don't we add an antlerless season in for that week that's open? And they might be able to just pencil it in and be like, great, let's go.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully you can get Jeremy Hurst on and find some of that stuff.
We just try to keep pushing it down the road until it hits the actual voting side of things.
Yeah.
So, HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Custom Gear.
Man, those Lone Wolf stands have become such a cornerstone of our equipment over, recently, but I mean, also we've been using these stands for a long time, even the original Lone Wolves. They're all built right here in the United States. The lines just keep getting better and better. Cody and Andre and the whole team just keep innovating and introducing new stuff into the line this year. And they've got some new things coming this year.
Yeah, so this year we've got the Patriot Series, which, a lot of people are talking about this as being the cheaper, just fixed position side of things. But let's be honest, they can be mobile too, right? They weigh 12 pounds, but they're built from a value standpoint. So for guys like us who want to have 3, 4, 5 preset stands out there for certain wins, we can put this Patriot Series out there, have them ready. Nothing better than slipping up into one of these fixed position stands that's already set on the right wind.
No doubt. And so this year, as of right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR. It's a one-time use promo code. Gets you 10% off anything on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear website. That's any of the custom gear stuff, any of the Patriot Series. So whether you're planning on getting into one for the first time or you want to stack a big order here before the season, code HUNTR will get you 10% off.
Hunt like a wolf. Eric Hansen, everyone.
Catching up with Eric and we don't bore people with the state to state stuff here. Just it's an excuse to catch up with Eric more than anything. And he asked to come on and just to raise awareness, I think, about some of the proposals that are there. And
I think people appreciate it. I mean, obviously we're in the off season, right? So it's habitat work, food plots, whatever, turkey hunting. But I think everybody, I don't know, besides Iowa, right? And even they have to fight a lot of fights. There's no state that's perfect, right? No. Everybody's got problems. And so I think much like Eric, resonated there is like you hear Josh in Michigan and what's happening there, and you're like, oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Or even Missouri talking about stuff or New York talking about stuff. And so I hope, regardless of wherever you're from, you could be from Georgia and listen to this, like you should be able to hear that there is states considering things and making changes. And so even if they're not the right changes, which I think we all just came out of here saying, I don't think it's the right changes for New York for what they're proposing. Mm-hmm. But is it a starting point for discussions that can lead to hopefully the right changes? Mm-hmm. Then you can take that and try to work with it in your own state. And I think Josh is a great example of Josh isn't an organization, right? He's not a Hunter's Advocate of Ohio. He's not an Iowa bow, sportsman's club or whatever. He's just an individual. And he's single-handedly moving and pushing things in the right direction to get this done. So if you're listening to this and you want to make a change, go after it, get it done. You just have to pull on the right ears, and it might take time, and it may take several renditions of here's what I want. Okay, here's not what you're getting, so redo it. You can make progress there. So, yeah, I hope people listening to this, just even if they can't relate directly to New York, can take it and understand what they're doing in their own home state and how they can make some changes.
Yeah, I agree. The thing in Michigan is definitely, it's inspiring. It's a state that is shit, and that everybody thought would always be shit. And finally, they have a once in a lifetime, commission that's willing and ready to hear, the voice of hunters. And then it took, Josh to put the effort into like coming on these podcasts and stuff, and to, find out that there are people who have a similar thought process, and it's happening for them. So that's exciting. It's like, we are banging our own drum over here, like in Ohio and stuff. And it's like, unfortunately, we don't have a once in a lifetime commission. We have a lifer commission, that's unwilling to hear, or make change on stuff. So, I mean, we need a change there. But every state's, it's hard to foresee that coming sometimes. So it's like when you get the opportunity, you gotta move on it.
Well, and I think too, just, a state like Michigan's going to be a great one to watch and be like, okay, significant changes. Like, who knows what it ends up being. But let's say it's $1 and, shortened December season, and maybe they change the season start date. Like, those three big things. Do they lose hunters? Like, do people walk away? Do they not lose hunters? Do they stay? Does the harvest change? Like, all of these data points, no different than the CWD thing when we're like,
I don't think they do, man. I think, not to cut you off, but I think Josh's quote, and he credited it to somebody else, but I think it rings true in every state. If you do what's right for the resource, the hunter will always win.
Yeah.
And
somebody will hit the panic button because it just in nature, like, we're already losing hunters, right? So like next year, hunters might drop, and it's like, oh God, see what's happening. And it's like, no, probably would have did that anyways. Right. We're already on that trend. It's just, does it start to pick itself back up?
Have time to see it through.
Yeah. So I think it's cool and it's encouraging. I think this was a really good start on our discussion around New York. Hopefully we can get the biologists on, but I think the three of us are at least on the same page of like, it's not right for what they're looking to do. But if that can spur the discussion to lead to what's appropriate for the resource and therefore the hunter, great. Like, let's use that as a starting point.
Yeah, if that was just, if that could just be the basis from any state's decision making, is like what's right for the resource, and it's just not. It's almost not even a thought for most of them. It's just, what do hunters want, and how do we keep our jobs?
Yeah, and it's not working.
It's politics.
It's not working. Like, even if they are doing,
it's because they're doing what's right for what hunters want, and it's wrong for the resource in a lot of cases. And that's the miss. Like, that's where people are not understanding. Is like, yeah, hunters want it, but it ruins the resource. And when the resource is ruined, hunters quit.
Yeah, they stop. They go do something else.
They
go fish. They go golf.
You lose
something else.
You lose them.
Common sense, man. It's a lacking thing in today's society. But anyways, we appreciate Eric coming on and talking about New York, and we appreciate everybody listening, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Take me